Hey everybody, Roxbox90 here back with some more Shadows over Innistrad spoilers. We got a bunch of stuff to jump in today. First things first, they as in WotC, Wizards, released an article, Shadows over Innistrad Mechanics, and what's good about this article is it allows people who don't know the mechanics from prior sets, or who want to see the new mechanics as well broken down. You get a very nice, well done article with some spoilers included as well. I'm not going to run through the whole thing. They have some spoiled cards here we'll get to in a minute. They did update some things about double face cards. For me, the coolest thing is the confirm mana cost, which is that instead of being 0 on the flip face, now it's going to end up being the same thing as the front. So the front and back have the same, with the exception being if something's cloned. So that's the coolest thing for me. There's other things too they mentioned about ETBs and no flippy floppy. They talk about some stuff that way. And then we have Delirium, which was already spoiled. We'll get to these cards shortly. And then Investigate, which we knew about as well, creating clue tokens. And then we have Madness, which is probably the coolest mechanic to return. Always made sense in a graveyard-related set like the original Innistrad. And then we had Delve, and now we have Madness. So go Wizards. It's a great mechanic. Really great mechanic. And then Skulk is more of a keyword. Can't be blocked except by creatures with creatures. Can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. There we go. Boom. And that's the article. But if you don't know what these mechanics do, never heard of this, definitely check out the article. I'll link it in the description. In terms of the spoilers for today, hopping right in. Firebug Revenant. We just saw this guy. 1/3 for 3 Skulk lifelink. He seems okay, maybe, for limited. And that's about it. Ravenous Bloodseeker, 2 for 1/3, discard a card, it gets 2+2-. I like this for limited. It seems very aggressive, and really is a good way to enable Madness, especially in aggressive decks. Just the Wind. Return target creature to its owner's hand for 2, and then Madness. This is a worse unsummon. It allows it to be a Madness target, so you can discard for effect, and then you'll get the unsummon effect, so yay, but it's still having a 2 cost. Does 2 cost unsummon? I don't know. I guess if there isn't a lot of better stuff, then sure, but that seems really weak to me. Magnifying Glass, really cool art, really cool flavor. 3 to tap to add a waste, and then 4 tap to investigate. Seems okay. It seems okay. This is the kind of card that, if limited is slow, this card could be pretty good. Thraben Inspector is a 1/2 for 1. Enters battlefield, investigate. That seems like decent value, although we kind of wish it was a 2/1. There's probably why it's a 1/2, but it is common. Warped Landscape, waste, and then tap 2 tab, sacrifice it to get a basic land card into the battlefield tapped. So in other words, it's a pseudo Farseek, which I think is really good, to be honest. Yeah, you lose a land, that's the penalty for it. But it does act kind of, it's a waste enabler that could act like a Farseek if you need be, depending on the colors of decks. So pretty good for a common, I think. Soul Swallower. This card is really cool visually. 4 for 3/3 trample is okay. It's good for limited mostly. And then Delirium to give your upkeep if there are 4 more cards. Then it gets 3 1/1 counters. That means every single turn, which doesn't seem that good when you first look at it. 4 for 3/3 trample. Then next turn, 4 for a 6/6 trample. Then 4 for a 9/9, etc., etc. That seems like a commander abusable card to me. Reaper of Flight Moonsilver, not Sliver. This card is okay. It's a 3/3 for 5 flying, which is it's questionable even for limited. And then Delirium, sack a creature to get 2/1. That's the main thing. It's a sack outlet that can potentially trade well, be really good in forms of combat, but requires Delirium seems like a lot of work for a maybe good limited card. Then we have Hinterland Logger. I like this a lot. It's a 2/1 for 2, and then at the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast, not just yours, then you can transform it. It's a 4/2 trample. And for those who remember, we had prior, I think it was in Cons, there was a bear card that was 3 for a 4/2, and it was surprisingly powerful because 4 power untapped is a deterrent, and then it also, if their board is clear, it's tremendous amount of power for very little mana. I think with Trample especially, this card could be surprisingly strong in limited, especially a common. Thing in the Ice. This is flavor win galore. 1 and a blue for a 0/4 defender. Enters the battlefield with 4 counters on it, and then when you cast an instant sorcery, take off a counter, and then transform it into a 7/8 Kraken. Kraken, the Kraken horror. Return all non-horror creatures to the owner's hands, which seems kind of disgustingly good, especially because instants or sorceries take off counters, which means on your opponent's turn you could potentially have this activate. I like it a lot. It seems really busted for limited. Then we have Flame Blade Angel, 6 for a 4/4 flying, and whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a creature you control, I believe is what it says, then you can have it deal 1 damage to its owner. So in other words, it's a deterrent card that also works really well for aggressive decks because, but the problem is that 6 mana. It seems like an intro rare to me. Decent and limited, not so good anywhere else. Markov Dread Knight is 5 for a 3/3 flyer, tap 3, discard a card, 2/1 counters. Again, intro rare, probably better for limited though. It's a Madness Enabler that can very easily become a 5/5 flyer for 5. That seems very strong for a limited environment. Last up, Elusive Tormentor, a flip rare is always something to watch out for. 4 for a 4/4, tap 1, discard a card, transform it. So it's a Madness Enabler for very little, and it's a vampire. It turns into a 0/1 hexproof indestructible, can't block, can't be blocked, and whenever it attacks and isn't blocked, you can pay 3, and if you do, transform it. So in other words, you have this creature that's really annoying to, I mean, it can't be blocked, so you flip it, attack, flip it back, 4 damage for 3 effectively, and potentially protect itself and act as a Madness Enabler at instant speed. It seems really scary and limited. I don't know if it's constructed playable, but it's close. If it's not constructed playable, it's close. And it's amazing visually and amazing in limited. Really cool card. So that's the lot from today. What do you guys think of this batch of cards? I'd love to hear what you think, especially if Thing in the Ice and Elusive Tormentor, those are probably the MVPs here. Let me know down below in the comment section, and if you enjoyed the video, please tap the like button if you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.